But I think in terms of what science communication means to me, as you mentioned, was a journalist before I started doing communications at NIH. And so I've always sort of viewed my work as a type of translation, if that makes sense. So taking, even when I was a journalist or a political journalist, taking really complex ideas and sort of consolidating them and explaining them in a way that the general public can understand. And that's not to say that the general public is not smart. That's not what it is at all. But I am saying that a lot of times scientists, and you guys can probably attest to this from your science communication background, but a lot of times people who are experts in their field are so niche in understanding like the complex biology of something, or in my work at the Office of AIDS Research, the complexities of different vaccine trials and even like the proteins that make up whatever these scientists are working on. And so it takes a specialized skill set to see that information, condense it, and try to explain it in a way that makes sense for anyone to understand. So that was my role, I felt, as a journalist and trying to get important information out to the public. And I viewed my role at NIH in a similar way of just trying to get the essential information out to the public.
I think that is a great description. And it's something Claire and I have actually talked about before, because Claire has done some language translation. And so we've talked about the similarities with what we do. And a lot of times, we ask the scientists and researchers that we work with to give us their actual manuscripts, their journal articles. And it's not because we can necessarily understand everything that's in there, but even just having that as a place where we can find the keywords that they use, look up those keywords, figure out what they mean. And so it really is about translation, whether or not you're using more common English language to describe that or using visuals.
I was just going to add the other piece of that is just being kind of like the non-biased like entity in dispersing the information. Like you're so, like you said, specialized and in your own world of, what these vaccines are doing, what proteins we're studying. And then it just takes kind of a step back and maybe a different person who's not totally wrapped up in all of those details to share it.
Definitely. You have to sort of straddle the worlds of what's going on in the public and what's going on in the laboratory, for example.